Could you give us 3 tips from our religion to protect our mental health?
When we look at faith-based ways to be able to heal and to really have better mental health going forward, let's think about 3 specific steps. The first, let's think about the importance of understanding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and who we are in relation to Him. One of the beautiful narrations is knowing who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is through His many different attributes and names. Any of these names that you hold on to are going to be very important for you. The 99 or more names of attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, find the ones that speak to you. There's an important narration that says, أَنَا عِنْدَ ظَنِّ عَبْدِي بِي. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I am as my servant thinks I am. So find the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that speak to you. When people think about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if they only think about hellfire or vengeance, they are losing sight of the very important aspects of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the names that He calls Himself, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, the most merciful, the most compassionate. When you think about names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that remind you of how it is that you're able to get through any of the difficulties, hold on to those, because that is going to really help you through your struggles. Number 2, Rida, having acceptance of the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here too, we find important narrations where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is teaching us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already predetermined for us our life. Yet we don't know what that is, and so we strive and struggle to be able to do our very best. And it's very important, this narration where the Prophet teaches us, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that if all the people of the world were to gather to harm us, they cannot, except by the will of Allah. And if all the people of the world were to gather to help us, they also cannot, except by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The pens have been lifted and the ink has dried. When you think about it from that perspective, it doesn't matter if that person in your life or that boss or that neighbor or whoever it may be that's giving you a hard time, it does not matter who they are exactly, because ultimately Allah is greater than them. And every person who has a Fir'aun, a person like a Pharaoh who's so difficult, there is Allah above them. And so when you put things into perspective, it shrinks down our anxieties and troubles back to real size. And that is really important, because you realize that no one can harm you except by Allah's decree. And if it happens, it was written. And if He brought you through the struggle, He'll bring you through it as well. And if good is coming to you, it's also coming to you from Allah, in addition to your own good works as well. قُلْ لَنْ يُصِيبَنَا إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا. Nothing will befall us except that which Allah has decreed. That having that rida, that contentment, that knowledge is going to help you through. And thirdly, hilm, or forbearance. This ability to know that all of the difficulties that have come your way not only were decreed and you have rida, acceptance of that, not only were they ones that are part of your journey and struggle, but having the forbearance to deal with that and to go through life, knowing that you're not alone, to remind yourself that Allah will never give you more than you can bear. He'll never test you more than you can bear or burden you more than you can bear. And so with that, you're able to say, if Allah brought this to me, He's going to bring me through it on the other end. And having the forbearance to be able to push through becomes part and parcel of your healing journey, inshallah.